We're reading from page 320, Human Life, Nature, Immortality. Well, we had gotten page 322, but I went back to page 320 just to kind of not start off in a weird place. All right, the ultimate aim and end of human life. The whole human race has ever believed and hoped in an ultra-terrestrial life, in which man's ultimate aim and end would find its perfect realization. There is a very strong presumption in favor of such a faith and hope in the fact that the moral order has never been, and never will be, as far as history tells us, and our own experience teaches, perfectly and completely realized, either in the life of individuals or in the life of nations here on the globe. But it would seem that either a perfect and complete realization of the moral order, or at least a perfect and complete compensation for the failure of its realization, would be necessarily demanded by the justice and holiness of Almighty God. Hence the faith and hope of mankind that the soul is immortal, and that the divine government of the world will find a perfect justification, and the moral order a complete vindication, cannot appear extravagant and baseless to the philosopher who, as a consequence, will devote his serious attention to the solution of this grave problem. The immortal life. When we speak of immortality, we speak of the soul exclusively, not of the body of man. While Christianity plainly teaches that the body will ultimately participate in the immortal life of the soul, yet we consider this doctrine a mystery in the strict sense of the word. Example, a doctrine of revelation, which has such, does not concern the philosopher. The arguments for the immortality of the soul are manifold, some direct and others indirect, some conclusive, others only confirmative. Conclusive arguments for immortality. To demonstrate the immortality of the soul conclusively, two things are required. One, it must be shown that the nature of the soul is such that it, if left to itself, its life never ceases. It does not bear its own being, the source of dissolution. It must be shown that no external influence will bring about its destruction. The natural immortality of the soul. The demonstration of immortality as a natural and essential attribute of the soul is based exclusively upon the proof already given in the first part of our study on psychology that the soul is spiritual. We showed there that it is in the very nature of a spirit to exclude composition of integral parts, that it is essentially indivisible, and therefore simply in the same way as it is in the nature of a body to be composed of integral parts, to have quantity, to be essentially divisible. For the same reason that a body may begin to be by evolution and cease to be by dissolution. For the same reason that a body may begin to be by evolution and cease to be by dissolution, because it is essentially composed of parts, a spirit, because it excludes, essentially has such component parts, cannot begin to be by evolution, nor can it cease to be by dissolution. Now think about that for a moment. Since a being begins to be by evolution, when it acquires its last essential part, and ceases to be by dissolution, when it loses possession of one of its essential parts. Being a simple substance, the soul can only begin to be in its totality at once. By creation, and for the very same reason, it can only cease to be in its totality at once, by annihilation. But neither creation nor annihilation can be the act of the soul, nor of any other contingent agent. Being an absolute and independent manner of acting, both can be attributed only to the one absolute agent, God. Hence, the life of the soul, being spiritual, can never come to an end by an intrinsic principle of decay or disintegration. It is naturally immortal. If it ceased to be at all, it could only be by violence from without, by an act of God. If it ceased to be at all, it could only be by violence from without, by an act of God. If it ceased to be at all, it could only be by violence from without, by an act of God. If it ceased to be at all, it could only be by violence from without, by an act of God. That's interesting. I see what you're saying with that. Yeah, I was kind of thinking along the same lines. If it ceased to be at all, it could only be by violence from without, by an act of God. The never-ending life of the soul. Yeah, we highlighted that section. We're going to dissect that a little later. There's a lot of interesting things being said on that. Right, so would that be life itself, or? Okay. So someone said they're a basketball player. I see where you're going with that. So you're a basketball player and you can do layups, and then I see what you're saying. An act of violence somehow makes it so you can no longer do layups. It's a death of something, but not of you. Right, the arm is dead now, or it's cut off. Yeah, you don't have it anymore, so. So the act of being able to do a layup is dead. I see what you're saying. It's a cute thought process. Right, and if no one sees you make the layup, right, you're not going to get credit for it. You can try to tell them you did a layup. No way. Prove it. Well, I can't now. A tiger bit my arm off on the way.
Here's something you're never going to be able to unhear. A slightly sped up version of SpongeBob's laugh just sounds like a baby sheep.
Was that a fun fact? I have no idea. He left the room. He just came out and said it really quick. He likes to come in and read me fortune cookies every once in a while and just leave the room. That's all I had to say. Yeah, he's funny. Oh yeah, no, I get what you're saying with that. It's an interesting paragraph altogether. It's a fun one to talk about. The never-ending life of the soul. The soul of man, being spiritual, is naturally immortal, and if left to itself, will never come to an end. Even more than that, there is no power in heaven or on earth that can terminate its existence except the omnipotent and absolute power of God. Hence the question that remains to be answered is this: can we prove conclusively that God will never annihilate the soul? There is no doubt that we can. We can show that God does not annihilate anything, and therefore does not annihilate the soul. We will even go farther to show that God cannot annihilate anything, because such a thing is contrary to his infinite perfection. Are they talking about a person? That God cannot annihilate anything because such a thing is contrary to his infinite perfection. Maybe they just had to use the word God so they didn't get in trouble for blasphemy. Who knows? What do you think? The absolute power of God. Even more than that, there is no power in heaven or on earth. Well, heaven is on earth, right? It was only in my dreams. But that's on earth too, right? Heaven. Sweet haven. Up in a haven. It's a nice haven you have there. Are you a heathen? Even more than that, there is no power in heaven or on earth that can terminate its existence except the omnipotent and absolute power of God. Was it an act of, did they say it was an act of nature? Remember when they used to say that too on insurance claims, if something like lightning struck a tree and it landed on your car? Is that considered an act of God or nature? It's the same thing, or? Right now, if somebody comes and just starts smashing your car with a baseball bat? Is that an act of nature? I mean, there's some conscious space making this decision, right? Or is it just acting in an intoxicated state? Does it know what it's doing? I mean, that has to be hell, right? If you're capable of doing stuff like that in a awake state and you don't know what you're doing. It's probably good to learn how to prevent that from happening, right? And how to be aware. Right, right. I mean, I don't know. You can't really use that as an excuse and say, oh, I'm sorry, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. Well, you still got to pay for the damage you did to the vehicle. Well, did anyone see me do it? Right, thank goodness for security and surveillance cameras, because, yeah, no one saw you, but it's on the camera, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes even if someone did see you, I don't know, if your dad's so-and-so, and they're just a nobody hobo, I guess no one saw you. I mean, someone did see you, but no, that's nobody, apparently. It depends. You see these situations all the times, and the one pointing the finger and saying, hey, I saw them do that. That's not a credible witness statement. Who says? Look at them. They're homeless, destitute. Right, but if so-and-so says now it's a credible witness statement. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it works. Yeah, I think a lot of those things, they're there to protect us. Right, but it's just gotten so used and abused by people. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? And then when you get to the point where there's security and surveillance and they can't get away with a lot of the things they used to be able to wave on really easily, yeah, they start throwing fits. And when the person that can do the waving is trying to tell them, hey, they can hear and see everything I'm doing. I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. No, I don't. And they want to argue with you. They don't realize, yeah, it's still rolling. It always has been. Yeah. Right, and they want to throw a fit and they get upset with you. Right, now you might have more infractions and it's your fault because you didn't wave it on like you're supposed to. Right, some just have a harder time accepting. Yeah, and as you can see, for the ones up at those levels, they still do, get away with it, and they're using a lot of the lower classes to skirt things around. And they like it, Mikey, they like it. Have you ever heard the song Sweet Dreams? Some of them want to be abused, dude. Some of them want to be used because they make a lot of money from being used and staying silent. It's very sick and disturbing. We were just talking about that was back probably about 10 years ago, yeah? Yeah, we were in Winthrop. You remember that? Yeah, we were talking about this, so I remember Robbie was just mentioning that because he wants to see the new Markiplier movie. Yeah. I do too. We've always been fans of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and all those people. I remember back in the day, a lot of people were like, oh, don't watch them, they're CIA or FBI, they're gay. Yeah, I know. Robbie's like, yeah, they stopped doing videos together because people were saying those horrible rumors. Not that it's a horrible thing to be gay. Right, I mean, if you were gay and people went around saying you're straight, it's not very nice, is it? Who cares, right? It's just an idea. I mean, if they believe it, it's only real, right? And even if they did believe it, why would it matter? Who cares? Uh, yeah, that's true too. Sometimes, yeah, I can lose some deals. Or sometimes when people see you have that kind of riffraff just floating stuff around you, they don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. Yeah, yep, I remember that. Yes. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So that was around the time we were very concerned at what had happened with our children. So a lot of the freaks around in the school departments, state workers, citizens, druggies. Yeah, a lot of people freaking out that we had not vaccinated our son who was going up to the Winthrop school. He was just like kindergarten, first grade, yeah? His first years of school, of public school. And what they did to him and what they did at that school is disgusting and disturbing. So we'll tell you, we used to walk up to the school sometimes in the morning. Sometimes we just walk up to the bus stop, but other times we'd go all the way up to the school just for fun. He used to like to stop at the police station because he wanted to be a police officer. Yeah, he even dressed up as a police officer for Halloween every year. Like 3 or 4 years in a row, he was a police officer. Right, now he's my only son that I did not vaccinate. And a lot of people that were freaking out about how I was going to kill other people and he was going to make their kids sick. Yeah. So I remember, anyways, we had gone into the school one morning and he said, "Top of the morning to you, laddies." It was so cute. One of the teachers, dirty look, they seem to not realize we can hear a lot of the side chatter too, even their thoughts sometimes. Yeah, we're very in tune. Yeah, a lot of the paperwork and side chatter. Yeah, we could hear very good. Oh, I mean, beyond remote. Yeah, I don't think you understand what we're talking about. So, anyways, yeah, like one of them made a dirty look just for him saying that, right? And parents like me letting our kids watch those YouTubers, and yeah, how horrible. We're bad parents. Plus, we were going to kill other people for being non-vaxxers, so they were already upset about that and just looking for other reasons to make us out to be bad, horrible people. Sick and disturbing. So, anyways, I remember when one of the teachers gave a dirty look when he said that. I looked around to see if there was other teachers that might be aware. It was a little concerning. I almost didn't want to leave him there. Right? Now, he mentioned, he just asked me this. He's like, "Hey, did you sign me up for a program so I could play video games and stuff at school?" And I said, "No, why?" He's like, "Oh, I thought that was something you had signed me up for." Because he said, yeah, so this is kindergarten, first grade. Yeah, he remembers this. And one of the rooms he said he could go to and they'd play video games. And then they would play with little baby chickens. They had the little baby chickens. Yeah, I remember because he had I didn't even know, right? I remember him coming home with all these little scratches. And he said, oh, they had chickens and stuff. It's like, oh, okay. And it was with the lack of communication and then getting dirty looks just for him saying "top of the morning" to you laddies and making comments about letting him watch YouTubers. Yeah, it was very disturbing and scary to us. And we were already dealing with, keep in mind, right up the road at Winthrop Family Practice, Dr. Baker had vaccinated our children behind our backs, our youngest two, his little brother and sister. So we were dealing with all that stuff too. And remember the abuse and the child abuse that was going ignored. Yeah, conspiracy all in our heads, right? I know. And then when that happened with his other son in the tub, and that's all documented. When you actually look into what was going on and what happened with that situation, you should be absolutely disturbed and alarmed at what's happening here and what these people are doing. You know, we had state workers, healthcare workers, teachers, and all these people trying to prove us to be crazy. And they had a lot of the citizens around here going along with it, including our parents. And the private investigator who shot himself in 2009 was trying to tell them. I don't think people fucking realize how fucking disturbing this is and the abuse that those kids have been through in the hands of these punks and hags. So anyways, he said, yeah, they had the video game room. And then there was another room. He said it was kind of all padded. It was like white ceiling, white floor, nothing in it. He said they used to put him in there all the time when he was bad. I'm like, do you remember? This is all documented. I just wanted to see if he would remember. I don't think they realized how closely we were watching and listening to everything going on in that school. And yeah, because you can see anyone listening, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're not looking to arrest anyone. We're trying to bring awareness to the whole scope of things and get help for our young children that were vaccinated behind our backs, who can't talk and tell you the abuse they're going through, that have been fucked and tortured by these punks. Do you understand? I don't even like to think about it and the abuse they go through in the hands of that fucking hag. These nasty people. Hey, Jamie.
You are nasty. Hey, I mean, Mom. I'm sorry to call you a wrong name.
You were gonna say nasty? You were repeating what I said?
I didn't repeat it, what you said. I said I called you a wrong name.
I thought you were just repeating what I had just said.
Yeah.
Get some grape juice.
Yeah, my mom told me.
I know. When you heard me say they were being really nasty when I said hi, Jamie, you repeated.
I didn't repeat you.
Oh.
I was just calling you the wrong name.
You called me the wrong name.
I did.
Oh.
Yes, I did.
Happens.
I called you Nana by mistake.
Oh, you called me Nana.
So I was supposed to call you Mom. So.
I see what you're saying. I misunderstood you. I thought you said something different.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, what are you doing?
Nothing much.
No, you're gonna play some
My
game.
sugar was low.
Yeah? You think you drank enough grape juice to bring it up?
Yes.
You good?
I don't know.
Alright. Okay. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, it makes me sad. Yeah, I'm not really allowed to mess with any of that stuff too much. Yeah, as far as his diabetes care and stuff. Oh, no, it's really sad what they've done and how they've made him fear. Yeah, any advice from me, I might kill him and give him a tree nut. So it's just sad, what they've done to these kids. So anyways, yeah, those young children in the hands, sick murderers, pedophile, nasty people. Oh, that's what I thought. I thought he called me. I thought he said, hey, nasty. He said, no, he called me Nana. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so that was all going on. I said, do you remember some of the things they would send you into that room for? He said one time he walked into the room and he was kind of like swinging into the room, like dancing. And he was like, I came in like a wrecking ball. He got put in the timeout room for that. I was like, for singing a Miley Cyrus song? Why? He's like, I don't know. Right? Interesting. So another time, right, he said like the wind picked up or it started raining all of a sudden really fast, like something happened. He went, oh my God. Got in trouble for saying, oh my God, and got sent into the timeout room. Yeah, so I mean, we could go on and on what these people were doing, and just that nasty look I got from that. If you want to talk about Karens, whatever these people are labeling as Karens, that's a classic. Yeah, that was scary. I didn't even want to leave him at the school. Right, and then I'm thinking, think about what was going on too up at the doctor's office and how they vaccinated my children behind my back. Yeah, not to mention the bullshit we're going through with the neighbors and stuff. Yeah, wow, huh? Yeah, that's where we were when the tree got hit by lightning. Yeah, that almost fell on us. Me and Robbie. We were sitting on the steps. I actually have pictures of it too because the tree. I have pictures of the tree, and I'm like, look at that tree. We took a picture of it because it was getting really dark. It was getting ready to thunderstorm, and I was like, imagine if the thunderstorm came and lightning hit that tree and it fell. And we just kind of laughed, and we got up and we started playing in the road. Within a minute, we hear this crack, and it hit the tree. It was so fast. I was like, I didn't even have time to think, you gotta be kidding me. It was just instantaneous. I was like, get on my back. I was like, let's go. He did. He hopped on my back, and we ran. The tree, when it fell, too, yeah, it brushed the back of our feet. We were running up the front stairs. And it brushed the back of our feet and it landed on my mom's car. Yeah, it was in the paper too. It took them days to clean that up. They took pictures of it and put it in the paper. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, considering too what we were already dealing with the vaccinations and them doing that behind our backs, then we're going to deal with teachers acting like that. And this poor kid, his first years of school, just being frickin' targeted by these nosy, nasty animals that have labeled him an unvaccinated child that's gonna kill other people. You sick fucking bitches. Right, I really hope you fucking people get everything that's coming to you. You nasty fucking people. Right, so just think about that and the abuse that was going on with the children, and that had already happened, being ignored. Right, and then when the activist groups that were already connected to these lines going back decades are sending in these kids and influencing the younger activists and psychos popping their frickin' SSRIs like goddamn candy, you sick fucking monkeys. Right, and then when they're pushing that on other people and our children and they're trying to enforce it onto people for trying to speak the truth. Yeah, if you even mentioned the vaccines, they were labeling people crazy conspiracy theorists that were going to kill other people, taking their children, labeling them dangerous. They were trying to keep a lot of it quiet. If you look at what they did, they were vaccinating them behind our backs. Someone outside of the medical field, someone in the medical field outside of a facility came up to me and asked me how they were doing with the vaccines. And I said, what vaccines? And she, did I just get Dad in trouble? Like, would you get Dad in trouble? Why do you say that? And they just walked off with this look on their face like, please don't ask me any more questions. Okay, so then I found out. That's how I found out my children were vaccinated behind my back. And when you look at what we'd already been through with some of these doctors trying to scare us into vaccinating them, sick fucking people, dude. So when people in the public, maybe anyone who cares and understands these things, understands what the fuck is going on here, I'm sorry, I know I use that F word a lot when we're talking about these things. It just helps me when we're talking about things that are very angering and sad and disturbing to us. And with our children still in the custody of these sickos, yeah, we get a little angry sometimes, and that comes out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Things are going fine now. Yeah, see, that's why too. I don't want him to hear me. Yeah, I don't want him to hear any negativity. Isn't that sad? That's my oldest son. He was vaccine injured in 2006. Right, so the experts had already known. They knew, and they could very easily tell people. And they didn't want to listen. And in 2010, when they signed off on that stuff and they got people to go along with what they were doing, You sick fucking people. You know you are. You're sick fucking pigs. Yeah, so hopefully the proper authorities step in and they bypass these citizens that have been making very uneducated, dangerous decisions. Hopefully they can step in and bypass, because they have no clue what they're doing. And they're killing us and our children. So you can continue to listen to their bullshit, or you can wake the fuck up and you can acknowledge the facts and concerns. They're not going to. They don't care. Yeah, no, the state workers and other people have been patting him on the back. Remember Governor Mills coming here? Telling my dad, you're going to teach these kids a lesson. They're totally fucking oblivious to it. Yeah, it's really sad and disturbing. So at any time, I mean, maybe mainstream, I don't know, do you think that they can have these conversations and help to educate the public about basic common sense in life and the misconceptions and confusions?